Hi friends, welcome to my channel and welcome back if you're returning. In this video, I want to talk about the difference between aluminum foil and parchment paper. We're going to go over the definitions of both, pros, the cons, the do's, and the don'ts. So we're going to cover everything in this video to help you guys better understand how to use these when cooking. Let's get into it. So let's get started with the definitions. Aluminum foil is a thin layer of aluminum that has been rolled into a pliable sheet. The definition of parchment paper is a sheet of paper that's been rolled up and has a thin layer of silicone which makes the paper heat resistant and non-stick. We will get into more details about each. Next, we're going to go into the pros and cons for each of these. One of the pros for foil is that it is a great barrier for odors, moisture, and air. There's also the fact that it is very, very good with withstanding heat, like flaming heat. You can put foil on a grill and it will be fine. You can put it in the oven, it'll be fine. But there are cons to foil. The cons about foil is that there are no non-stick properties. Let's say you're baking cookies or you want to roast some potatoes. They will sometimes stick and you can find little pieces of aluminum on your food and that's kind of annoying. Another con with foil is that it can impact the taste of your food. So depending on what you're cooking, not all the time, but sometimes what you're cooking can change the flavor and you get this little taste of foil, which is like not the best. And the last con for foil is that it can be easily damaged. It is so thin and dainty, I want to say, that you can poke holes in it. It can tear if it's crimpled too hard or if you like pull it apart too hard. Now, after going over the pros and cons of foil, we are going to go over the pros and cons of parchment paper. There is a non-stick property. You can put anything on it and it won't stick, which is really nice. Another pro, it allows for moisture and air to escape, unlike foil where foil contains it all. Depends on what you're cooking. If you need that for what you're baking or cooking, use parchment paper. If you don't want moisture and air to escape or odors, use foil. Moving on to the cons for parchment paper, is not heat proof. Heat resistant, yes. Heat proof, no. Those are two very different things because heat resistance means that it can withstand and hold in a hot oven, but there's a little bit of flame that's gonna catch on fire. It's not heat proof. It will catch on fire, it can burn, but foil, you won't see that because you can put foil on a grill, you can put foil in a broiler, which leads me to the do's and don'ts of parchment paper and foil. So let's get into that. Starting with foil, the do's are, it is great for roasting and grilling and broiling. Those are really great ways to use foil. Also great, another do for foil is it is great for containing odors and heat. You know when you go to like a burger place or something and they have their burger wrapped in foil and it's like so hot and cheesy and gooey and delicious, and but think of that when you wrap something in foil and you open it, it's like so hot but the outside isn't really hot, which is amazing. It's such a great tool for that. Same with if you're wrapping something that might be a little stinky, have some odor, wrap it in foil and then put it in the fridge and it will contain that odor, so then you don't have to worry about stinky leftover food. So there's another little tip and do for you for foil. We're going to carry on to the don'ts for foil. I know I said that foil is great for storing food and such, except for freezer storage. Don't use it for freezer storage. This is because, as we talked about earlier, foil can crinkle and rip and tear and have tiny little holes in it. These little holes can increase permeability. So this isn't very good for your food. Another don't for foil, don't use it to wrap acidic foods. So think tomatoes, think onions. Anything acidic is a no-no when it comes to foil. So avoid that if you can. Another don't for foil is don't use it in the microwave. I don't know if I need to say that, but I think I should say that. Don't put foil in the microwave. I've heard some cases where you can use just like a little bit and it's okay. I personally just avoid it at all costs to avoid any sort of damage because I don't want to burn my house down, but you know, to each their own. The last don't for foil is don't use it for cookies and cakes. It's going to stick. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you can avoid using foil for your baked goods, I would avoid it. Like, just don't do it. So now let's talk about the do's and don'ts for parchment paper. Unlike not cooking baked goods with foil, use it with parchment paper. Big do for parchment paper is use it for cooking any baked goods, or you can use it for roasting veggies, and it's also really good for baking fish. Another do for parchment paper is, unlike the foil where you can't put it in the microwave, you can put parchment paper in the microwave. And finally, we're going to go over the don'ts for parchment paper, which I actually kind of just found one, which is don't broil using parchment paper. As we talked about earlier, parchment paper is not heat proof. It is heat resistant, but not heat proof. So broiling, as you may know from my last video, baking versus broiling, I'll link that if you haven't seen that. But as we know, broiling, the heat comes from above, and that can cause an immense amount of heat, or there might be flame even. Just make sure your parchment paper doesn't come in contact with like a lot of flame or heat, because then it might catch on fire. I want you guys to be safe when you're cooking, so that's why I go over these. So I hope this video helped you understand the difference between aluminum foil and parchment paper, so next time that you're in your kitchen and you're looking at both and you don't know which one to pick, you know exactly which one you're going for because of the do's, the don'ts, the pros, the cons. You know it all. You are a pro at this. I'm so proud of you. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this and other fun food videos that I'll be creating. Follow my Instagram at Sam's Food Cam if you want to see more content that I post daily. I hope you guys have a lovely day. Bye!